with this, I've never done this before. I am not, skilled enough with redstone to really, inform anybody. But I think this is going to be a learning curve for, anybody who watches. It's something that's going to be able to, you know, teach everybody, and hopefully I can teach myself some more along the way. Now, there will be some things that I can't explain right off the bat, but I will do my best to learn how it works so I can do that, so I can teach you how it works. So, we're just going to start with a few basic things. So, redstone blocks, torches, levers, repeaters, sticky pistons, and regular pistons, hoppers, I guess. I'm not gonna fucking touch you. I can teach observers. That's not that hard. Yeah, let me go from here. Okay, so basically, redstone is very simple the more you think about it. Like, you just think about it like basic electricity. You don't want, lines touching, or else it's gonna make a short, and it's gonna cause a lot of problems. So there are a few things that I want to go over. So first is redstone dust. It's simple, it's easy, this is the easiest to explain. This is just like a wire. It carries a current, or, a redstone signal, this is the term I'm going to be using, from one area to another. Now, any redstone power source, like the blocks, the redstone torches, lever, button, pressure plate, tripwire hook, anything that outputs a redstone signal has a strength of 15, I'm pretty sure, and I can show you that here. So, like levers, redstone torches, here, let me go one, and redstone blocks. These are the, that, and along with buttons and pressure plates, but I can't really show those in a consistent manner. These all output redstone signals. The redstone block and the torch do it automatically, while a lever is more of a on-off, Now, a button, let me just grab a regular button. A button is simple, nope, that's not it. You press it, and it has, like, a tick value of, I think, 3, so, like, here, let me actually... I'll explain what I'm doing later. Okay, so no, it's much longer than tick, or than 3 ticks, and I'll explain that terminology later. So anyway, like I was saying, with the redstone torch and the redstone block, they both output a consistent source of power, while a lever, while it's flipped on, does the same thing, but when it's flipped off, the power doesn't come. So, like I was saying earlier, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you can see as we get further down the current, or down the line, the power, like the color gradient, does drop drastically. And you can tell it's on because it has these little particles. But if I do one more, it's off. There's no color gradient to it. There's no particles coming off of it. It's off. That's the basic thought process. So it's 15 blocks in one direction, or in any direction actually, because if I go over here, maybe place it right there, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and you can see that it does still have the particles, but I do 16 and it's off. So that's the basic principle of redstone. It's just power from one source to an output. Now we can get to repeaters. Repeaters are a very, not intricate part of redstone, but they do help in a lot of aspects in, making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It helps in powering, or taking a signal, taking it into the repeater and amplifying it to where it can go another 15 blocks. And then, of course, this is the 15th. I break that. It's 16. It's nothing. So that's very simple. This is the basics, I guess, of redstone. So that's, the basic principle. It's that this is, early, this is the, you know what I mean. Anyway, so of course the redstone block and the redstone torch will do the same thing. There's nothing really to say about the redstone block. It's just a block of redstone. It emits a continuous source of power. So no matter like where you put it on it, it will be powered as long as the redstone is touching a block adjacent to it. So if I place it over here, let me redo that. If I place it right there, it doesn't touch it because it's not, or it's not powered because it's not exactly touching the redstone block button, and it powers it. The redstone torch is a redstone block that can't be pushed. You know? So if I place one over here and a line of redstone, it powers it just like it would here. But the problem is, and I will show this very briefly, if I put a piston right here and then I power the block, it breaks. And we don't want that in some contraptions, so that is where a block of redstone comes into play. You can power it with another block of redstone, and it, you know, pushes it. And then I can place a piston here, and I can power it, and it pushes it. And you can do this all day as long as it's not obstructed. So if I want to push it and then I want to push it back, it won't work because this one's already extended. You can't push a redstone torch because, as you saw, it would break. But essentially, a redstone torch is a redstone block in every aspect except one. So if I grab a regular block here and I place a redstone torch on it and a line coming off of it, you can see that the redstone is powered. But if I run a repeater into that block, put redstone on it, and then power the redstone, it turns off the redstone torch. This is a inverted redstone torch, which there's so many applications for this, and I'll go over a lot of them later, but it is really good that it turns off. That's one upside of the torch that the redstone block doesn't have. You can't really power that unless you move it away from the redstone source. So yeah, that's basically that. So there are a few things that redstone does that redstone repeater, or no, the things that repeaters do that redstone can't, like carry a current through a block. So if I put redstone like this and then redstone like that, if I power it, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, so it won't collect it on the other side because this redstone isn't really powering this block. But if I break that and put a repeater into it, the redstone repeater takes the current, pushes it into the block, and then the redstone dust can pull from it because it's essentially turning this block into a block of redstone. But it's in a way that if you break it, it turns off. I'm probably explaining this really terribly. I am a terrible teacher, but this is the best I've got. So this, another cool thing you can do with this is if you have a, you know, a contraption like this, like a V shape, you can put a repeater into here, put a redstone dust on bottom, and if you power it, it turns on the redstone. So that's pretty cool. That's a great way to kind of hide a redstone door and still have the button at eye level like most people would do. Instead of that, you just have the button at the bottom floor where that's really obvious. Press it and it will power. But another reason this is, you know, a good contraption is if you put, actually let me come grab this lever. Thank you. You can put a lever on it and have it continuously powered, but if you put a redstone torch under here and turn it off, it creates a redstone clock. Now what a redstone clock is the ability to make a current flow back and forth in a way that it creates a timed loop. So if I do this, it goes back and forth just like that. Now doing this with repeaters is very complicated because if one of the repeaters is off by a few ticks, like if I put this back, it creates a complete circuit. And that's not something we want in redstone builds most of the time. Actually, all of the time. So if I break that and then put that at 1 tick. Oh, so this is a good way to get into the ticks, the quote-unquote ticks. The best way to describe a tick is basically... Hi there. Future Psycho talking. So while editing this, I realized that if I were to be watching this video, I wouldn't know what the fuck was going on. So I looked it up, and it turns out that a game tick is something that happens every 20th of a second, or at least in Minecraft, or 20 ticks per second. That's like that happens in chunks, or blocks. Like the entire redstone ticks are different though. They happen every 2 game ticks, so 10 ticks per second, or every 10th of a second, and that's the control of the delay in the redstone circuitry. So the minimum that a repeater will give out is a 0.1 second delay, and however, if you put you can reduce it to 0.5, but that includes like comparatives and stuff like that, and I don't know how to do that. But I will get into that later. Just wanted to clear this up. Don't listen to the video. Listen to me talking right now. Redstone ticks happen it's every 10th of a second. So there's 10 ticks in a second. All I wanted to say. Sorry. That's probably the wrong way to explain that. And I apologize because like I keep saying, I'm not a good teacher. But a faster version, I believe, is here, and you can do. I will show you a contraption to make this later. I'm just teaching you the basics. Most of these contraptions are going to be used in other redstone builds that I'm going to be teaching later down the line, and I will show you a build at the end of the video which involves this redstone clock, just to give you an idea of how it will work. So now we're going to be getting into pistons. There are 2 types. It's the regular and the sticky piston. Now, I don't really fully know about pistons, but I do know some basic uses for them. All I know, or one thing that I do know, is that if you power a piston, it pushes. That's pretty simple. But there are differences with these, so let me show you that. Now, as it might seem obvious, there is obviously a difference between a regular piston and a sticky piston. The regular piston, if you power it, it pushes, and if you unpower it, the block stays where it's at. While a sticky piston, if you push it and then unpower the block, it pulls the block back to it. Both of these come in handy for various things. This piston could be used in like an infinite lava thing, while sticky pistons are better in updating blocks like observers or stuff like that. But you can power a piston in different ways. You can power it with the redstone directly next to it. You can run the redstone across the top of the block and it'll power. The one thing that you can't do, I believe, is under. So this comes in handy when you're trying to not run a line into a piston directly, but you still need redstone next to it. So if you have this type of contraption, just drop a block, go under, and go over the top. So yeah, we'll be moving on from that. There is a cool thing that you can do with, I believe, half slabs. Let me grab some of these. If you take a half slab, put it on the top of a block, and keep doing this in a zigzag motion. If you can run the redstone through the blocks like this, and if I get a redstone powered block like a lamp, and I put that at the edge of the block. Oh, the one thing about redstone is that it is a 16th of a block tall, so if you are on the side and you need to place it next to the block, you can actually hit the side of the hitbox and put it right next to it. So that being said, with the redstone like this, the current will actually travel up the stairway and turn on the lamp. So if you want a light switch, you can basically put a wall up in front of the redstone right here, and it'll be seamless. It just has to be behind the wall, but that's something cool that you can do with that. Let me place these back and then get redstone up. Shoot. Fuck. They're not where they need to be. Sorry, my OCD causes me to do stupid things. So that's pretty fun. Another cool... okay, so the next thing that I want to show you is actually with hoppers. I don't need repeaters anymore, and I don't need redstone lamps. If I find... so there are a few things that that hoppers can pull from. I believe it's chests, trap chests. You can't do it with ender chests. Barrels, shulker boxes, and composters. Those, I believe, are the only blocks that it can pull from. Oh, and of course, furnaces of that sort, like smokers, furnaces, blast furnace, stuff like that. It can also, I believe, pull from dispensers, but I'm not actually. You know what? Let's test that. This is a learning experience for all of us. So if I pull a dispenser here, put a hopper on top, and then put another dispenser on top of that. If I put a empty loose map into you, will you go in here? You will. So yeah, it can pull from a dispenser as long as it's not on and be pushed to a dispenser underneath it. I will go over dispensers and droppers because I actually do know the difference, and I can do that later, but I will not do that right now. I'm working on the hoppers. Now, this is a good... hoppers are very, very nice for a auto sorting chest. I will learn and teach you how to do that later. For like auto storage systems, you can have a input chest over here, and then it can run a line all the way along a storage system, and basically it will say to itself, is this the right chest that this item needs to be in? If it is, it will be deposited into the chest. If it's not, it will keep moving along. I don't know how to do that off the top of my head, so that's not going to be what I'm showing you at the end of the video. Excuse me, I am still sick. I have been sick for a fucking week and a half now, and I'm sick of it. So that is hoppers in a nutshell. It's basically, it has the ability to pull and push. But one thing that you can do is you can actually... oops, sorry. You can lock a hopper, so you can put redstone in here, and with... you can have the hopper underneath something with items in it. But if there's a redstone current going into the hopper, it basically locks it, and there's nothing that can go through here. But if I break that, you can see the torches being funneled in and into the bottom like this. But if I place the redstone current back into it, you can see that it stops moving here. This can also work... let me actually put a block here. So let's unlock it and then put a redstone current into it. I forgot that it was powering this block, which in turn is connected to here, so it powers the dispenser. I will go over that later too, but you can see that it just did it once. There's nothing going in, there's nothing coming out, and, you know, therefore nothing is happening because the hopper is locked. Next in the inventory is an observer. An observer is really cool because it detects updates in this specific block right here. So I can show you that right here. If I bring a light over here, if I put a block in front of it, it sends an update. If I break the block, it sends an update, and the update is 1 tick long. So this could actually be really good for making a redstone clock. Let me grab a repeater. Yep, okay, cool. So if I bring the line over here, actually let me, yeah, like this. Nope. And I update it. It sends out a single tick, which will be in turn pushed back and forth through here. And I believe if I break it, yeah, so this is a one-time use thing, but if you hook up a... excuse me. Oop. I need a lever. You can hook up a lever to this side and turn it on to stop the current, turn it off to break it, apparently. Oh, wait, why does that work? Because there's no more power being put into it. anyway, I don't know why this doesn't turn off because there's no... I'm not sure why this is, you know, this is stuck. I'm assuming it's because there's a redstone current being pushed out of this one into this one and then back into this one, so it's just running it back and forth, and like there's nothing stopping it, because I know if I break this, the redstone current stops. So it's redstone's complicated. Observers are actually really cool for setting an on-off switch, but not in the way that you think. So of course, if you place the lever on it, you get a small tick, small tick, small tick. So each lever pull is it's an output. Instead of a regular redstone signal where it's either an on or an off, the observer turns that on and off, into a, you know, a pulse, you know? And of course, if you keep flipping it like that, it's going to stay on, but that's going to get annoying, and you don't really want that. So with that being said, there are a few more things that I would like to go over. That is going to be the dispensers, the droppers, the daylight sensors, and is there anything else? I'll use a redstone lamp as a power source, or not a power source, but a demonstration. So first I want to go over the dispensers and the dropper. So there are two. The best way to visualize this is with a water bucket. Actually, let me get two just so I can visualize it easier. So with a dispenser, if I just put it on this side of it, a dispenser will dispense the item in its inventory. So instead of it just pulling out the water bucket, it will dispense the water in the bucket, unlike the dropper. And I know that was kind of hard to see because I'm an idiot and forgot that, you know, it would power both. So let me break that like a dummy, move it over here, and put it inside like a regular person would have. Put that on top just to make it symmetrical. So, of course, the dispenser dispenses the item inside, but it needs 2 ticks for it to, you know, pull it back. It's not just an on-off where you flip it one time, you flip it one time and the water comes out, and then you flip it a second time and it comes back in. It's not like that. It's going to be, you flip it, it dispenses the water, you flip it back to turn it off, and then you flip it again to activate the dispenser. And of course, that pulls the water bucket back in. That's also going to be useful for a build that I'm going to show later. While a dropper, on the other hand, this is a one-time use thing. It really just, it dispenses the item. Droppers are good for automatic trash cans, which I could show if you would want. But that's going to be in a separate video, of course. In the comments, I want you to put whatever idea you would want to see, and I will work towards figuring that out and putting it in a video. And of course, whoever comments it will get credit for it. Daylight sensors are great for, let's say, a lamp post, which I could just do with oak fences real quick because, you know, I'm not doing anything fancy. And then pull it over here, put the lamp, and then a daylight sensor on top of it. So if the daylight sensor is on day mode, it's going to pull, it's basically like the opposite of a solar panel powered driveway marker, I think it's called. Anyway, so it takes the power from the sun, or it detects whenever it's daytime, and it outputs a redstone signal. But if you're on PC like Windows, or you have a mouse and keyboard plugged into your PlayStation or Xbox, if you right click, it turns it into night mode, and if you right click it again, it turns into day mode. But if you're on controller, it's going to be the left trigger. Oh, my controller's on. It's going to be the left trigger to activate it. Now I actually need to turn off always day because I forgot that I was going to be doing this. So let me just find it, always day, but I don't want to do daylight cycle, so I'll turn that off too. Resume, cool. So if I go slash bitch, I was doing something. I hate that. It does that every time. Slash time set night NIGHT. That should turn off. Oh, okay. So with the automatic, time change, it's not going to detect it automatically until there is. Oh, wait, that is because there is still some daylight left, so it is going to detect both. Right? If I do that. Okay, yeah, so if you can see the sun, there's going to be a detection on both angles. But if I do slash, nope, time set midnight, it turns off because there's no indication of the sun anywhere. But if you left trigger right click, it detects that it's nighttime and will power it then. So daylight sensors are pretty cool for street lights, and of course this is a very simple design, but you can go as as extravagant or as minimal as you want. It's really up to you, but this will be the best way to showcase the detection of day and night. So let me just go slash time set noon. And of course in the middle of the sky, turn that back on to day mode, and yeah. So that's basic Redstone, to be completely honest. And unfortunately that is all I'm going to be able to show for this video. I'm going to be continuing the Redstone teaching videos, and then I'm going to be doing a separate series or playlist type thing of the Redstone builds that spans off of what we learned in the classes, quote unquote. But the only reason I'm doing it this way is because I realized that I've been recording for an hour, and I don't want to make you guys sit through that. So I'm just going to be doing this episode as is, or this video as is, and then going from there in the future. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, comment what you want to see me teach you or build, and I will hopefully see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.